vlogging. So my cardio was at 60 minutes a hit. King of covers, because he's done like so many magazine covers. I've been like following him for a very long time. Always wanting, like, oh, it was so hot. So that's been a huge stress on my mind through this past week. What you give it right after you are done dieting. So that's why you have to slowly, very gradually. Bread and pancakes. It makes the best pancakes ever. Look at that. Oh yeah. It's a bunch of stuff that you don't understand or fill.
Hello again, everyone. It is Thursday. It is the 8th, I think, and I've been showing you guys a full day of eating. Well, I guess this is going to be my intro clip, so I'm going to show you guys a full day of eating. It's a medium carb day, so I have 100 carbs, 135 protein, and 35 fat. So, show you guys everything I'm eating today, but the mail just came, so I'm going to show you guys what I got in the mail, and I just opened the one package, so I'll show you what that is, and then the other one I think is going to be my competition jewelry, so I'm excited to show you guys. So I just ordered these on Amazon. They're just exercise bands, because the new gym that we've been going to doesn't have them, so I got these so I would have my own to use. We're going to open this other one. Stop! Alright, so we got earrings, bracelets, and I'm not going to show you guys too much because I want it to be a secret, but I did get these silk pajamas, so I have something to wear after my tan and something to sleep in at night. What's up, guys? I wanted to go ahead and do a voiceover for today's workout to better explain what I'm doing. We did a full glute workout today, and this time I wanted to start out by doing some glute activating exercises. So it's really important to do these if you have a really hard time really targeting your glutes on glute day. If you usually really feel it in your hammies or just aren't sore the next day and you're not hitting the right thing, these will really help warm up your glute muscles, so that way during your very glute targeting exercises you're going to feel it a lot more. So for these I did 4 warm-up sets, and every time I did them I used a higher resistance band, so they got more difficult with each set. So I would start out with donkey crossover kicks that you see now, and you pretty much just, it's like a pulse, so you'll do the donkey kickback and then you just cross that over your leg that's resting on the ground, and I would do that for a count of 10, switch legs, do that for a count of 10. And then I did fire hydrants. So for these, you just want to lift your leg up to the side, and it sounds really weird, but it really helps warm up the outer glute, and I love doing those. It's really great to make sure you feel it later in your workout. I especially prefer to do those because I know that I need to work on my outer glutes and really work on the roundness. So if that's something you struggle with, these are something that would really, really help you to really start feeling that more during your workout. So I should have one more set left after this. La la la. Almost there. There we go. That's the last one. This is the heaviest one, and it does have a really heavy resistance on there. I was pretty impressed. These are the bands that I got today in the mail that I just showed you guys, so it was really nice to get to show them off and use them to warm up today. So this was my last set. I don't think I made it to 10 on any of these because it was very heavy. So, and by this point I was definitely warmed up. As you can see, my range of motion is much smaller on these, but after you've done that many sets, you don't really need that many reps to really feel it. Can definitely feel it by then. So that is enough of that as my warm-up. So next I also utilized my bands and I did banded hip thrusts. So for these you really want to make sure that you're focusing on the muscle-mind connection so that way you can really feel them. The band helps you keep your legs out wider. It's going to put more tension on the outer glutes the whole time. You really want to be using your heels. As you can see, my toes really aren't touching the ground. That really makes sure that you're not using your quads to muscle yourself up. You're really using the back of your legs and your glutes. And starting at the very bottom of the movement, when you are at your lowest points, that is when you want to start contracting your glutes and then really just tighten and push your hips up. And then you want to pause for a second at the top so you can really feel the contraction. And that is the correct way to do these. A lot of people just rush through them and they're moving their hips, but they're not really contracting their glutes, so it kind of ruins the point. So I supersetted those with cable front squats. So these are a really, really great glute exercise. I love doing these. So same thing, you really want to make sure that you're really focusing on putting the weight in your heels and you're not leaning forward. So you need to use a weight that's heavy enough to really challenge you, but not a weight that is so heavy that it's completely pulling you forward. Because if the weight distribution is off and you're not really focusing on your heels, you're not going to feel the movement where you need to. So again, just make sure that you really have the weight focused in your heels. Kind of want to be leaning back just a tad bit, and you want to sit down. You want to get a very, very deep squat on these to make sure you feel it in your glutes. You'll really tighten your glutes on the way up to feel it and push yourself back up. I promise you, especially after those warm-up movements and the hip thrusts, that you will definitely feel these in your glutes. If not, you really want to adjust the weight and make sure that you have a good stance with your feet because you might just be standing wrong. I prefer to keep my feet shoulder width apart for these, and I find that that is most beneficial. So next, I went ahead and moved on to rope pull-throughs. So these are kind of an awkward movement to do. I left my Fitbit on, should have taken it off, because those are definitely hard to do if you have something like rubber on your wrist or your rings. So again, for these, you want to make sure that your weight is mostly in your heels, but you are going to be leaning forward a tad bit. You want to have a bit of a bend in your knee, and you want to keep a very straight but neutral back. So as you lean down, it's going to let you pull your upper body down towards the ground. It's going to feel kind of like a deadlift movement. And then you really want to focus on tightening the glutes when you pull the weight through your legs forward. And you want to contract and hold that for just a second at the top to really feel the movement. So these I really love too. You will definitely feel these after everything else we've already done. So up next we had curtsy lunges, which I know is Satan. These things are horrible. You definitely feel them. They wear you out. So you want to start out with your feet about shoulder width apart on an elevated surface. You can do this just on the ground if it's your first time doing them. You also don't have to do them weighted. That just adds difficulty. So you start out with your feet about shoulder width apart, and you'll take, let's say, your right foot, and you want to put it to the left of your left foot when you step back. Same thing when you take your left foot back, you want to set it to the right of your right foot. So you really are crossing over to the other side of your body when you place your leg on the ground. And then you want to use that foot on the ground to push off to put your feet back in your starting position. So crossing your legs over like that really makes it focus on the outer glute, and also just like the underbutt, pretty much you're working on that glute high tie-in with these. Talking is hard. So these are really great. I did sets of 12 on each leg for these, and these just destroy me. They're very difficult. They look easy, but when you're doing them, they're very hard. So next I did hack squats, and these were also very difficult. I don't hit full depth on these, I'm not going to lie to you guys. As you can see, because these really bother my knees. If I go all the way down, it just hurts my knee joint to get back up. So I have a really wide stance on those and keep my legs very wide apart and toes slightly pointed outwards. And then even if you're just doing more of a pulse motion like I was, you're really going to feel it in your glutes if your foot placement is right. So they need to be, as you can see, up very far and wide apart, toes slightly outward. And you don't need a ton of weight for these because you want to make sure it's in your glutes and not your quads. Then I supersetted these with goblet squats with just a kettlebell. So these are really great to just add in as a superset kind of thing. I don't like doing them by themselves because I don't feel them as much. But if you do them as soon as you finish something else, you can really feel them. So I had, I believe, a 30-pound kettlebell, and I would just do sets of 10 or 15 goblet squats in between my sets of hack squats. And those worked out really well for me as well. So last, can't finish without the glute kickbacks. So these are one of my favorite finishing exercise. At this point in the workout, you don't need a lot of weight. You just want to make sure that you're keeping a neutral back. The foot that's planted on the ground, you want to have a slight bend in the knee. And you really just want to kick back and raise that heel towards the ceiling. And you should definitely feel this in your glute. If you're not, you're probably doing something wrong. If you're doing it in your back, you need to make sure that front knee is bent and make sure that you're keeping a neutral position. I find that looking down helps keep my back more neutral rather than looking up, because then that's really going to arch your back. So these I did about 5 sets of 10 on each leg, kept the weight really light, and just kept it moving. So last but not least, you are going to see, this is more of a hip abductor kickback. So you're kicking to the side at an angle. This will really, really trigger those outer glutes too. Same thing, you want to keep the weight really light to keep it moving. You want to keep a neutral back. You still want to have a slight bend in that planted foot, but you want to have it turned so your toe is facing the side that your body is open to. So when I'm using my right foot, I'm going to have that toe pointed towards that side, so it kind of opens my body up so I can really kick to the side and feel it in the outer glute. So these ones murdered me. This was definitely a good way to end that workout. And as you can see, your leg should go up at a slight angle rather than straight back like before. So this way you should really feel it in the outside. Then I just finished up with some hip abductors and adductors on the good girl, bad girl machine, as many people call it. And just did a few sets on that to focus on my thighs a little bit more right before I left. And then I practiced posing a lot. So I ran through my routine like 10 or 15 times at the end of this workout, and I was feeling much better about posing. And that's really what you need to do if you want to get better at it, which obviously I found that I'm getting much better at it the more you practice. So repetition is key. You need to feel comfortable. It does suck that I wasn't wearing heels in this. I did not have them with me. I've also not asked if I'm allowed to wear heels in this room. So that's something I'm working on so I can practice with heels in front of all these mirrors, because it's a really great place to practice. So this is pretty much going to end today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it more than you know. And I would really appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up and let me know if you like it. Comment if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. And share it if you want to show your friends a killer glute workout, because trust me, this one hurts really good. So thank you guys again for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.